It is Bones, and let's go ahead and do another topic video. Now, I have been holding on to this one for a while. I was actually letting everybody do their videos. Of course, I did my own with the, first gut wrench reaction. But by this time, everybody has gotten their videos out there. They soaked up all of the views that they could get from this infinite crisis wave. And basically, a lot of it was just ranting and raving and not even trying to understand or comprehend or put anything into perspective. They just basically wanted to trash McFarlane and say that he's crazy for, wanting to raise his prices even a smidgen. Now, actually, I actually gave it a chance to breathe. And then I took a deep dive into it and tried to really investigate it and find out the real reason why McFarlane went with that 39.99 price point or $40, whichever way you want to look at it. I even saw some, morons on the internet, and it really jumped. The price magically jumped from 40 to 45 and even 50 and $60. And basically, that just tells me that these people are not genuine and they're just going off of soft hate for McFarlane because they don't like his line or whatever reasons they have. And I'm not here to psychoanalyze any haters on the interwebs. But let's try and actually look at this in a logical way. Now, did McFarlane just pick this price point out of thin air? Actually, no, he didn't. Now, there is actually a precedent set on this price point, and hear me out and let me let me try and explain it to you, and maybe even open your eyes a little bit and actually talk about some points that I've noticed that people aren't even talking about or even trying to point out, in this big issue with the recent price hikes from McFarlane. And remember, I'm not here to justify or defend McFarlane. I'm just really trying to, wrap my brain around it and understand where did that 39.99 price point come from, and what can we see in the future from this, wave that he released. Now, first off, if you are a die-hard DC action figure, DC multiverse collector the way I am, then you know what it's like if you miss out on a figure or if you miss the window, and the lengths that we will go to actually get what we want. And we, and we all know the horror when the figures are sold out or they're gone, and now you have to kind of backtrack and get the figure because you really want to add it to your collection. And in the end, you will be paying an elevated price for a figure that has sold out on all the websites, leaving you only one choice but to go to the secondary market. Now I'm basically talking about like Blue Hush Batman, Catwoman, even this creepy little guy, the Dick Grayson Robin. These figures have long since sold out and are getting pretty hard to find even on the secondary market for a good price. And if you feel somehow that now you really want these figures, you're definitely going to be paying for it. Now, actually, this guy's even a good example because the times that he came out in the McFarlane website, I actually missed it both times. I didn't, I wasn't quick enough. I think I was even driving one time and I had to pull over to try and order this guy, and I still missed out. So eventually I had to wait until I was able to acquire him from, I think it's called CMD store, which is like a Canadian, store. And he was actually, I think he might have been $45, but I'm pretty sure he was at least $40. Plus tax and shipping, I ended up paying about $90 for two of these. And this is definitely not unheard of if you are really involved in collecting McFarlane's DC Multiverse. you do know the trials and tribulations that sometimes come with trying to be a completist or trying to get every figure that you want for your collection. Another good example would be the Kid Flash Wallace West. Now, this was originally exclusive to McFarlane's website, and although I did pick up two, at the regular price, later on when I actually really wanted just a regular standard released version of him because I had customized one of the first two that I bought, I actually had to go and look for him on the secondary market. And I think I ended up paying, I think $37 was the cheapest that I ever found him. And for me, it was worth it because, I'm a big DC Multiverse collector. And I honestly just couldn't get over the fact that I wanted one more, I needed one more, and I was willing to pay, you know, top dollar to get that figure in my collection. And for me, it was actually worth it because as a collector, it is something that I really wanted. And in the end, that is all that really matters is how much you are willing to pay for something. Because although people could, run their mouths and say that McFarlane sucks and they wouldn't give you $5, well, guess what? I wouldn't give you $5 for a lot of figures that you all seem to, cream over and say that they're really worth it because I don't collect those lines. They don't mean anything to me. And I wouldn't even give you 1 peso for those figures. And that's just the way it is. And there's nothing you could change about that. And that brings up something else that I wanted to talk about, and that was Big Bad Toy Store. Pretty interesting because that's another weird thing that happens on this website. Now, besides the fact that they actually still have this guy on their website, and they're actually asking $50, plus shipping and tax. So if you if you really want one, that's one way you could go. But nobody blinks an eye when these guys are trying to sell this rare figure for that absorbent amount of price. And another thing they do is they actually randomly, out of the blue, they will end up selling the platinums from McFarlane's DC Multiverse. And guess what the price is for these platinums? It is $39.99. And I only bring this up because every time they do go up on their website, I mean, a majority of the time, it's really rare that it doesn't happen, but they sell out in seconds. They are gone. So, without a moment's hesitation and without asking any questions, collectors are known to buy just a standard McFarlane figure, although be it is a platinum version, they will shell out $39.99 plus shipping and tax to get these figures. Now I actually scored my gray platinum Catwoman this way, and I remember it was, I think maybe it was $45 or $47, and I didn't think twice. I pressed the buy button and I had it shipped to me, and I never had to look for her out in the wild. I never had to look for her on the secondary market. So it was actually a benefit to me to get her at that $40 price point because now she is going for like 150 on the aftermarket. So I'm actually really happy that I bought her for that almost $50 price in total. I'm fine with it. And she is not the only one. They've also sold, I remember seeing Jay Garrick, I think Mr. Freeze. Recently, they did the collector's edition third wave, which had Captain Carrot. It also had the Superman and Crypto, and that one sold out. I think they all sold out, and especially the Platinum Wonder Woman. So who is to blame for that? Where is the outcry that Big Bad Toy Store is actually price gouging us? Nobody ever said a word. Nobody had a problem with it until McFarlane actually did it on his website. And there's not really a big difference of why they do this. Big Bad Toy Store sold theirs for that price because they have to buy boxes from McFarlane, and maybe they end up buying 1,000, or maybe they get a couple of hundred. but they always sell them for $39.99. And I definitely think that this is where McFarlane got the price to sell this limited run of figures, which was the Infinite Crisis Wave. So McFarlane thought, if they're selling them at $39.99 and they're selling out, we only made, 1,000 or a couple hundred of these each. And I see no problem in selling them at that price. But of course, the, the psychos out there went crazy. And it was basically, they were saying McFarlane was stabbing the customers in the back. And, they went on their tirades. But in the end, the Spectre sold out, which left a lot of people scratching their heads and wondering, who could buy these? Why would they do this? And it comes down to collectors buy what is worth it to them. So it doesn't really matter if you like it or if you think it's right, but the figures are going to sell for what somebody is willing to pay for them. And like I said before, I actually think McFarlane is, playing a dangerous game with doing these recent price hikes. I mean, I didn't think that the Batpod and Catwoman was reasonably priced. I thought it was a little bit overpriced, but people still bought it. Even I ordered one. Because another thing that happened is, I remember a couple of years ago, I did mention that I would not mind if McFarlane raised his prices maybe $2 or $3, because of course at that time, the economy and everything was really hurting. And I really was surprised that McFarlane lasted out those 3 years without really raising his prices at all. He always stayed at that 1999 price point. In fact, even today, you could still get a lot of figures for that 1999 price point, especially online. If you buy from Amazon or maybe even Target, they're still selling a lot of the figures for 1999. But I have also come across the 22.99 price point, and for me it is not a big deal, especially because I wondered why McFarlane didn't do this before, and I was actually happy that he lasted as long as he did without raising the prices. Because let's face it, basically right now everything is costing more. Gas, home goods, shotgun shells, even bacon costs more. And it's just something that we have to live with. So actually, a raising of prices from McFarlane was actually inevitable. But in the end, McFarlane cannot sell anything that nobody wants to buy. And if it's not worth it to you and you don't want to spend your money, that is definitely your choice. But if you love this line and you collect this line and it is worth it to you, there is absolutely nothing that anybody should be able to tell you to stop you from spending your money the way you want to. But, anyways, guys, I just wanted to bring, do a little update on this topic and get you guys ready, because I do think that in the future, there may be another way of seeing this price point again. That is going to be a standard figure, maybe coming with a larger accessory piece or with added details or just some form that you're going to see that $39.99 price point again. But everybody should be ready. If it's not worth it to you, then keep your money in your pocket. But if it's worth it to somebody else, then you keep those lips shut. But, anyways, guys, that's it. Let's see how it goes in the next couple of months. But as always, keep hunting out there, keep collecting, keep customizing, and I will see you on the next one.
They used to call me Crazy Joe, but now they can call me Batman.